Hello, this is JG, and this is podcast Unicall Codependency No More. Oh, yeah, that's it. JG here with you, and this is podcast number 13. And before I continue, because I've got a special guest here with me, the title of the podcast today is, the topic is very simple. Everybody asks me if the narcissistic people really love, especially when it comes in terms of in the beginning of the relationship, when they say, wow, did they plan everything from the very start, from the very beginning? Wasn't it real or not? So before we start, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the channel, thumbs up for the video, and also turn on the little bell to get notifications all the time. And I'll be asking my friend Jake Bryce to be here with me. And that's it. Don't go away. I'll be back in a second. Have you ever wondered if a narcissist truly fell in love with you, or if everything was carefully planned from the beginning? This is a common question for those involved in relationships with narcissists. On this podcast, we will explore, Jake Bryce and I will explore the nuances of narcissistic behavior, especially regarding manipulation and control within relationships. And I have here Jake Bryce with me, my friend. He's a psychologist. Jake, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Here we go.
Well, I'm a shrink. This is what people call me in the United States. And basically, my job consists in helping people with narcissistic abuse. What I'm talking about is that people who survive relationships with toxic people. There's no toxic people. We have toxic behavior. And I was graduated in Stanford psychology, and I just after a long time resisting the subject because the subject was all over, I decided to, why not? Because since I was brought up in a very complicated family, I decided to help people with the same kind of struggle. And this is what I do now for a living at my clinic, and this is me.
Well, Jake, my question is, when we think about the narcissistic person being in love, it's quite common in the beginning of a relationship to see how they do, what they do, a bunch of gifts that they give the person, the flowers, the bombardment of love. Is it reality or idealization?
Well, only gotta bear in mind is that when a narcissist enters a relationship, it often seems like they genuinely love you, but this love is usually it's not for who you truly are. It's for the idealized version of you they create. They have an idea of the perfect person, a perfect love. Wow, this person is perfect for me. It's like this. It's because they found a person who is exactly serves like a mirror. And during the initial phase of the relationship, known as the idealization phase, the narcissist projects onto you all the attributes they find valuable. Your professional success, your physical appearance, your lifestyle, and even your independence. They can all be seen as trophies, and they use those attributes to feed their own ego. This is what happens to them. It's not because of you who you are. It's because you are working like a mirror, and they look at themselves. They look at you as if they were looking at the mirror, and they feel very comfortable and they feel very good. Look at me. Wow, I'm great while I'm with you. And when I'm not with you, the narcissist person usually thinks I'm miserable. I've got to see you. And that's one of the reasons why sometimes they call, oh, I got to see you, got to see you again. And then the person on the other side of the phone might think, or the person getting the text message might think something like this. Wow, this person loves me. And wow, this person is looking after me all the time. Oh, but at the same time, this person might be uh, very attentive and pay attention to the exaggeration. Not calling all the time. It's not a problem. If the person calls you all the time, it's the problem. There is something wrong going on there. So you got to be careful. Those are the signs. If the person is really bombarding you with love, or if the person is being really really needed, or if the person is kind of being a little crazy. And that's it. I'm sorry about the simple words because I work with very simple people, and I can't choose other words to describe what happens in the dynamics of
I know.
being with a person with the narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean, because when you spoke about the idealization, and there's a lot to do with the cycle of abuse, because it's during this phase that the narcissist believes they've found the perfect person to meet their emotional needs. Exactly what you mentioned about the mirror. They invest time and energy into creating a deep and quick emotional bond, seeking exclusivity and intimacy. But, however, all of this is a part of manipulation strategy. And this is interesting because, wow, you said something great about the constant messages and the exaggerated displays of affection and the need to monopolize your attention are tools. And these tools are very wisely or cunningly used to ensure you become emotionally dependent on them. What do you think about that?
Well, basically, it's because emotional dependence causes a loss of idealization. Over time, the narcissist starts to realize that you're not perfect. Mm-hmm. And this discovery is intolerable for them.
And they can put up with that, right?
So what they fear most is being exposed as an imperfect person. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be displayed like a person with a lot of flaws around, Yeah. And when you begin to see the flaws in their personality and try to point them out, even constructively, the narcissist reacts negatively. So they feel embarrassed, humiliated, and in response, they start to devalue you as a way of, it's kind of a weapon, as a kind of shield to protect their own shame. Yeah. And this reflects onto you the negative self-perception they have of themselves. This is what they do. And that's one of the reasons why in a certain point in a relationship, they start humiliating you, especially in public, and you get completely lost and confused. You get so much confused because once there was this bombardment of love and admiration and everything, but suddenly you realize that this person is not perfect, and then the battle starts. This is exactly the point. I may say that this is if I were writing a drama, a theater
play,
a theater play, I would say that this would be the highest point of the drama. The tense in the play. You know what I mean?
I got it. I got it perfectly. It's because it's really Machiavellian. This part of the process is really Machiavellian. It's planning, because that's where the question comes for the podcast. Is it planning or passion? Because we all know there are different types of narcissists, and not all act with premeditation. A lot of people think that they're like psychopaths, and the paths of the psychopaths is sometimes very premeditated. but it's quite different when we talk in terms of narcissism, the pathological narcissism. Some narcissists are Machiavellian and meticulously plan each move from the very beginning, from the very start of the relationship. On the other hand, some others are not. They use the opportunity. The ones who are Machiavellian, they carefully they strategize how to attract and keep their victims trapped in the cycle of abuse. Others, however, fall in love with the idealization they create without realizing that this love is merely an illusion. Yet the result is the same. Jake, I'd like to thank you very much for your participation here.
Well, thank you. I'm the one that's supposed to say thank you here.
And I'd like you to say, to finish the whole thing, to end up the whole thing here and say goodbye. And also, before Jake says goodbye, I'd like to ask you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, thumbs up for the video, and also turn on the little bell. Thank you very, very, very much, Jake.
Well, if you find yourself involved in a relationship with a narcissist, and believe it, Julia, believe it or not, I come across people every day in my clinic. Whenever they start the session, say my husband, my father, my mother, because many psychoanalysts they criticize people when they start the session saying something about other people. But as a specialist in the narcissistic abuse, I can say that it's crucial to understand how your qualities and your vulnerabilities can be exploited by this person. And that's why you start talking about this person, because you know that how this person affects you. The narcissist, consciously or unconsciously, will use every strategy at their disposal to ensure you remain emotionally dependent on them. So I'm going to say that recognizing these strategies, these tactics, is the first step in breaking the cycle of abuse and reclaiming your autonomy. Okay? So thank you very much also for inviting me over here. And as you said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and thumbs up for the video. See you next time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
See you next time. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. That's it. Thank you guys for listening up. Don't forget that we also have some important links down below in the description of this video where you can buy some books to equip yourself to books that are gonna help yourself to move on, to get out of the abuse. And that's it. That's the end of the podcast. See you next time. Bye-bye.